who should actually reach for the Lenovo ThinkPad E16 Gen 3, and who would be smarter walking away. Is it the kind of machine that lets a mid-level professional breeze through spreadsheets, video calls, and occasional code, or does it end up feeling like an overpriced office paperweight for someone who just needs a web browser? And for the everyday buyer who's watching the budget, does the price tag truly match the day-to-day value? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I get the hesitation that comes with any business-class laptop. You've probably seen the ThinkPad badge and assumed it means rugged durability and endless performance, but those promises can feel vague until you picture the laptop on your own desk. Imagine you're a remote analyst who jumps between Excel models, Power BI dashboards, and a few Zoom meetings each day. Or think of a freelance graphic designer who occasionally needs to edit high-resolution photos but isn't buying a workstation. The question is whether the E16's mix of Intel Core Ultra 7, DDR5 memory, and a 1TB SSD can actually keep up without draining your wallet or your patience. Let's start with who will get the most out of this machine. The core of the E16 is the Intel Core Ultra 7, a processor that sits comfortably in the sweet spot between entry-level chips and the high-end i9s you'd find in a dedicated workstation. For most office tasks, running multiple Office apps, handling large Excel files, or pulling data from a corporate SQL server, that CPU feels snappy. Because the memory is DDR5 and sized at 16 GB, you won't be fighting the usual out-of-memory warnings when you have a dozen browser tabs, a Teams call, and a couple of heavy PDFs open simultaneously. The 1TB SSD also means your OS boots in a few seconds and large project files load without the dreaded spin-up lag of an old HDD. If you're someone who needs to keep a lot of local data, say, a consultant who stores client presentations and confidential spreadsheets on device, this storage capacity and speed are genuine productivity boosters. The 16-inch display is another practical win. At a resolution of 1920x1200, you get a bit more vertical real estate than the classic 1080p panels, which translates to seeing an extra line or two of code or a longer spreadsheet without scrolling. The IPS panel and anti-glare coating keep colors consistent when you're moving the laptop around a bright office or a CAF window seat. At 300 nits brightness, the screen is perfectly adequate for indoor work, but you'll notice it struggling under direct sunlight. So if you plan to use the laptop on a sunny patio or on a train with large windows, you might need a matte screen protector or an external monitor for the best experience. Security and connectivity are where the ThinkPad brand tries to differentiate itself. Windows 11 Pro ships with BitLocker encryption and integrated Microsoft Endpoint Manager support, which is a relief for IT departments that need to enforce device policies. The laptop also includes a fingerprint reader and an optional IR camera for Windows Hello facial recognition, making logins practically frictionless. From a connectivity standpoint, you'll find the usual mix of USB-C, HDMI, and a few USB-A ports, plus an Ethernet RJ45 jack, something that's increasingly rare on slim laptops but still essential for a corporate environment that relies on wired networks for stability. If you're a freelancer who often works in co-working spaces with spotty Wi-Fi, that wired option can be a lifesaver. Now, let's talk about the trade-offs that might make you think twice. First, the E16 doesn't come with a dedicated graphics card. The integrated GPU on the Ultra 7 is fine for everyday visual tasks, but it won't cut it for 3D rendering, heavy video editing, or running the latest games. If you're a creative professional who relies on GPU-accelerated software like Adobe Premiere or Blender, you'll probably feel the performance ceiling pretty quickly. Second, the weight is around 4.2 pounds. It's portable enough to toss into a backpack, but if you're used to the Featherlight Ultrabooks that sit under 2.5 pounds, you'll notice the difference on a daily commute. Third, while the 300 nit screen is adequate indoors, it isn't the brightest you'll find, so it won't replace a dedicated external monitor for color-critical work. Finally, the price point for an entry-mid-range ThinkPad with these specs usually lands in the $100, $200, $400 range. For a buyer who only needs web browsing, streaming, and light document editing, that might feel steep compared to a consumer-grade laptop that can do the same tasks for $700. So, who should skip it? If you're a student looking for a cheap laptop to take notes and watch lectures, the E16 is overkill. You'll be paying for enterprise-grade security and a more robust CPU that you'll never tap into. Likewise, if you're a gamer or a media creator who needs serious graphics horsepower, you'll be better served by a machine with an NVIDIA or AMD discrete GPU, even if that means moving away from the ThinkPad line. And if you travel constantly and need a laptop that can fit into a slim